My attention was drawn from my troubled thoughts by a voice that reminded me of the scraping of an axe on a grinding wheel. A voice I'd come to despise. "Torben, meet me in the training yard," Magnus commanded. Swallowing down the contempt I felt toward my king, I followed him to the fenced-off area where my warriors practiced and readied for battle. I stood silently by his side while he watched the men run through countless drills. Drills not typical for our people. Most clan warriors were merely converted farmers, laborers, or skilled workers. It wasn't common for a clan to train its warriors so rigorously, continuously honing their fighting skills. Such practice took away from time spent hunting, fishing, or farming. But these sacrifices strengthened the clan as a whole, and I believe were well worth the time spent. This regimen was put in place by my predecessor, who was a wise battle strategist. We'd won many wars under his command. I trusted his judgment. So, after he died, and I ascended to the rank of seer, I continued the program. We watched the warriors sparring in tense silence. Brant, one of my most trusted warriors and kinsmen, was engaged with 2 green recruits. A mountain of a man, Brant bellowed to the heavens and then swung his huge warhammer in a giant sideways arc. The rightmost recruit held up his shield in a feeble attempt to ward off the blow. With a yelp, the man's shield splintered, the force of the blow sending him flying backward into his companion, sending them both toppling. "Ha! A game of cub with green hordes. This is fun. Who's next?" Brant let out a hearty chuckle, holding his hammer high while scanning the crowd for another challenger. Finding none, his shoulders slumped and his face fell comically. "Perhaps they're more scared of your breath than your hammer, Brant. I don't think any of them want to get within a sword's reach of you, for fear of the smell," I yelled across the training ground to the huge man who was now leaning easily on the haft of his hammer. "I'll take any advantage I can get on the battlefield," he responded, still chuckling. "Go grab a drink in the mead hall before you kill all our recruits. I'll meet you there in a little while. And try not to drop your hammer on anyone's foot again. I need these men in fighting shape." The other warriors seemed to take this as their cue that training was over for the day. The luckier of the 2 defeated recruits, the one who'd been pushed off balance by his comrade, rather than Brant's hammer, helped his partner back to his feet. After picking up the pieces from the shattered shield, the pair followed their fellow warriors toward the armory to stow their equipment. Magnus and I leaned against the wooden perimeter of the grounds, watching as the warriors departed. The king, who was almost as large as Brant, and certainly just as fierce, had not engaged in the open banter with one of his strongest warriors. "It's time we went on another campaign," Magnus said, finally breaking the tense quiet. "We've been idle long enough." "Have you decided on a direction?" I asked, careful to respond without hesitation. I had been expecting this. Yet another reason why I didn't need Brant maiming any more of my recruits. If we were going on a raid, we'd need our warriors at full strength. As it was, Magnus had incomprehensibly wounded enough of his own people lately, with his maniacal campaign for justice. He'd been carrying out his vigil among the clan ranks, ensuring he had absolute loyalty from his subjects, even if such loyalty was encouraged by the point of a sword. Raiding right now was folly, and everyone in the clan knew it. Why Magnus couldn't see this? I couldn't begin to guess. Our men needed rest and recuperation. Our last raid was but a mere 3 months ago, and the lives of countless good men had been lost. The remaining clansmen didn't need to be tossed back onto unfamiliar grounds where they would be required to fight for their lives. And their reward? Glory and riches for Magnus, and more toil and loss for themselves. "I think it's time we visit our friends, the English," Magnus replied. If he sensed my unease, he made no note of it as he continued. "News has reached me that a royal wedding is on the horizon. The English king is marrying off one of his daughters to the king of Tara. Weddings require gifts, of course, meaning riches will be transported between 2 kingdoms. It is the perfect opportunity to strike."